Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, July 15, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's black in your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook for the time period from July 23 to July 29, as well as July 30 to August 5. We're looking over here across the Atlantic into the Caribbean. Clearly, we see a lot of yellows into the golds across the US that represent what we see here on the key on the bottom, the above average temperatures probability. So I guess they're going to be hit in for quite a heat wave shortly, if not just some above normal temperatures. And we also see that there are going to be a lot of browns across the central to the western Caribbean into Central America. The browns, as we know, represents below average rainfall probability. So especially us in the central and eastern portion of the island, we've not been getting in on much rainfall. Most of the rainfall has been across western Jamaica for the most part. So it's just going to be getting even drier according to this update from the US Climate Prediction Center that came out this evening, July 15, from the forecaster Colo. So we'll see if it actually comes to fruition. We also see an increase in moisture across the western main development region into portion of northern South America and the Windward Islands. Very interesting. And we see that for the time frame from July 30 to August 5, we don't see much of anything across the Atlantic. So anything could play in our favor. We'll see exactly what unfolds, but we still see that there is a lot of rainfall that's expected across the western Pacific. A lot of reds in there that represents tropical cyclone formation probability, as we can see here from the key on the bottom. Very interesting that the western Pacific is still showing a lot of this as we continue to go through July and into early August. And we know that usually what the US Climate Prediction Center usually shows on their forecasts is not 100% set in stone, but it could happen. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:10 p.m. Jamaica time. We still see that we have that code orange right here across Florida, and it is expected to push off into the northern Gulf. And if we take a look at the infrared right here, you can see the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with this system right here across portions of Florida into the northern Gulf as we speak. And if we actually zoom in and read what the Hurricane Center has stated, they cooked up quite a big update. Let us see what it says. It states here, satellite and radar data indicate that the low pressure area moving across the northern Florida peninsula continues to produce disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity, mainly to the south and southwest of its center. The system is forecast to move westward and could emerge over the far northeastern and north central Gulf, possibly approaching the coast of Louisiana on Thursday. Environmental conditions over the Gulf appear generally favorable for additional development, and a tropical depression could form if the system moves far enough offshore over the next couple of days. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall could produce localized flash flooding over portions of Florida through Wednesday. Heavy rainfall could also cause flash flooding for portions of the north central Gulf Coast beginning late Wednesday and continuing through Friday. And we see that they've given the system a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days as well as within the next 7 days. I know that if something should form, the next name on the list would be Dexter. On the eastern Pacific side of things, not seeing anything here either. Well, not seeing here anything here for the past couple of days. Tropical cyclone activity is still as expected during the next 7 days. And we see why nothing really organized, but we do see a lot of showers in association with the intertropical convergence zone. A lot of shower and thunderstorm activity underneath some of these clouds, but nothing organized at this time. I know that if something should form over here, the next name on the list would be Gil. On the western Pacific side of things now, we see that we still have that leftover tropical depression number 8 right here that crossed to the east of Japan. It's right there across northern Japan as we speak. And we also see a code orange, a medium chance of development in the southern hemisphere. That's right there in the Indian Ocean. We know these things that are across the southern Indian Ocean are called cyclones, and they spin in a clockwise fashion as opposed to us in the northern hemisphere where most of these systems spin in a counter or anti-clockwise fashion. We'll see if something actually formulates down here. Let's see if it actually pushes to the west into Madagascar or to the east into Australia or even close to, I don't know, what are these countries? I believe Indonesia, if not, what do you call that country again that the owner of TikTok is from? Yeah, that country. Either way, we can see the clouds, the shadow, and the thunderstorms associated with that tropical depression right here across the northern Japanese islands right there. According to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, it is packing maximum sustained winds of 25 knots. So it's definitely close to tropical depression status, but clearly it's going to be weakening the more it pushes off towards the north and the east. 20 knots for sure right there. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see a tropical wave right here across the east central Caribbean. That's right there to the west of Puerto Rico. Another tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. And we can see them even better on the visible satellite images right here. The clouds associated with that tropical wave more so visible closer to Puerto Rico. We see activity pushing towards the west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We see some moisture right down in here in the Windward Islands as well, pushing to the west, and supposedly there's a tropical wave somewhere in here as well. And we see a lot of clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone squashed down in here, extending all the way over into Africa. We can also see the spin associated with that system that could form in the northern Gulf right in here across northern Florida. They're definitely getting in on some bad weather as we speak. We will be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, July 15, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some central and western parishes during Tuesday afternoon. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawny, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 3:06 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see that we got in on some amount of clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated shower activity across sections of some central and western parishes during the afternoon. Even had some brief on and off light showers across my portion of St. Thomas today for sure. I'm grateful for that. But as you can see, as the afternoon progressed, the thunderstorms erupted, especially across the central and western portion of the island. Anywhere you see these blue, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, anywhere you see these whites, all of this representing cumulonimbus cloud, into the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes over here, especially across sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, section of Manchester, Clarendon definitely gotten on some of the action for sure. And the visible satellite imagery right here confirms all of this. Look at the clouds building across central and western parishes. Then when they built up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, the cloud tops were being sheared off towards the south by that upper level wind shear for sure. So we definitely had some cloud cover across Hanover. Ryan confirmed earlier. Not sure if it rained though, but clearly most of the thunderstorms were across Westmoreland into St. Elizabeth, into sections of northern Clarendon right in here. And some of these rain bands pushing in through my part of St. Thomas for sure. Definitely grateful for the light rainfall that I received. And if we take a look at the infrared right here, we still see a lot of thunderstorms out west, especially across sections of Westmoreland. We're going to be looking at what's happening right now shortly to see if that's still taking place. But this is the almost up-to-date infrared. And we still see that a lot of cloud cover is out to the southwest for sure. We'll see. Either way, in terms of what took place around halfway through today, we can see the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing people walking about, going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. This was 2:07 p.m. today. As you can see, it was a bit overcast at that time, but nothing in the way of real bad weather, just some windy conditions, as you can see it right there. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming where we had that rainfall today, mainly across sections of some central and western parishes for sure. And we can also see that rainfall, maybe light rainfall across eastern Jamaica as well. That could be a bit different story tomorrow. Tomorrow we could definitely get on some rainfall over the eastern end of the island for sure, pushing off towards the west. Very interesting days in store for us on Wednesday. We definitely have some comments here from some of our followers on our Instagram page. We had one Ryan _ sitting hot and dry in Hanover. Ryan also confirming an hour later, overcast and windy now. So thanks for confirming. We also have Ram _ GA sitting watch day again. So I'm to the East Coast. Boy, I know how you feel, boss. All of the rainfall in Western Jamaica, Central and Eastern Jamaica roasting or baking. In the sun, we have Giovanni Panton stating Spanish Town cloudy. And I guess that's basically it for all the comments for today. Let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. Alright, here we go. The latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 23:55 UTC. When calculated, that's 6:55 p.m. So this just came out 8 minutes ago. So we are actually getting on some thunderstorms still affecting portions of Westmoreland, and it looks like some of the activity has spilled into sections of Hanover and even portions of southwestern St. James. I wonder if I look up the live camera for Rick's Cafe, if it will actually show up here with some rainfall over there. I don't know. I've been having some challenges with this live stream. Let's see, is it gonna show me what's happening now? I don't know. The earth cam thing is a bit weird. See, I click live and I can't see what I want to see at all. Alright, never mind. There was another one called Coca-Cola Beach in Negril over there as well that I used to look at a lot, and it used to show looking at the sea. I would see rainfall over there. Alright, there we go. Okay. Yeah, man, it's still up and running. We're seeing some cloudy conditions out west, so this is looking towards Negril now. Just a bit overcast, nothing in the way of rainfall taking place, but who knows, that could change. This that we're looking at right now, Coca-Cola Palm live stream, is actually all the way over this side. So all of the bad weather clearly is to the east. So it's right over here. That's where we were just looking at. The thunderstorm seemed to be to the east of there. So all of that could change. We'll return a bit later when the video is about to wrap up. Let's see if it actually rains by the time we get over to the end. Let's see if I remember. Alright, so let's see what's happening on the latest Doppler radar imagery. The Cuban Doppler radar, the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the latest Cayman radar. Let's see what's happening right now. Alright, so it looks like the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out again. Goodness. Glitched out at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 11:30 a.m. Jamaica time. At that time, we just saw some light to moderate rain bands to the north of us. Maybe one right here to the southeast of St. Thomas. That's basically it. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar showing some rainfall across portions of southeastern Cuba inland for the most part. Some rain bands right here across the western peninsula of Haiti. Nothing really taking place across northeastern Jamaica, but we do see some isolated showers pushing into eastern Jamaica. Though the Cayman radar, on the other hand, confirming that rainfall that we just saw on the satellite image. So we see the rainfall out west. Hanover, Westmoreland, section of northwestern St. Elizabeth, maybe southwestern St. James. The Cayman radar is actually here confirming that rainfall. We can see the blues, you can see the greens, you can see the yellows that represent some light to moderate to some even slightly heavy rainfall affecting especially Westmoreland right there, pushing off towards the west. So it's definitely not here as yet. Across the far western end looking towards Negrilo, we just saw the live camera from Coca-Cola Beach. So yeah, it's definitely inland. It's definitely more so to the east of there as we speak. So let's see if by the time we end this video, most of this rainfall has pushed up towards west, and we can see some of it on the live camera right here. But we can definitely see that it's dark for the most part right now over there. Interesting. Setting the stage for what's to come. All right. So we just looked at the latest Doppler radar. Let us see what's happening right now on the live camera. Parade downtown Kingston, Orange Street. We can actually see people walking about, going about their business. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place at this time. People in their vehicles going about their business as well. And that should be the order of the evening over here in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays and embedded in some slight blues. That represents maybe 1 degree Celsius below normal temperatures. So it's average to slightly below average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.8 to 32.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have a few maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday, July 16, 2025. We're referring to Dolphin Bay in the parish of Portland from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Villa Road District in St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Spicy Hill and Pimento Walk in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have Galena in St. Mary from 7:45 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Seek shade when outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water throughout the day even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. The dry air map, as you can see here, still showing that the driest air is right here across Africa, across the main development region into portion of the Caribbean. The dry air, as you know, is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain, making it harder for us to get rainfall in general. But we can see some moisture across the southwestern Atlantic into the Gulf. We can see that moisture across the eastern Pacific into the intertropical convergence zone. I wish we had more moisture across the entire basin so that we get more clouds, so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, so we're heading into July 16 now, so we still should be in the clear for the most part. Expecting some rainfall tomorrow, July 17 as well. And then by July 18, clearly the Saharan dust is returning, as you can see by this plume. By July 18, it should be in the Jamaica area, definitely pushing through. It's gonna be a bit light at first, then increasing in intensity by the time we get into July 19. As you can see, these oranges pushing through as well. And then, as usual, by the time maybe we get through to July, I don't know, 20, more than likely we're gonna be into that break that's behind the Saharan dust. We'll see. And I hope that you all have your meds handy. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that the highest waves are right here to the far south of Jamaica. The dark blues into the purples and the pinks. They represent the 2 to 2.5 meter wave heights, and that's because of the winds from the east, averaging up to 20 to 25 knots in the bright greens and the yellows. And if we could zoom in on Jamaica regarding our wave forecast, to the south of St. Thomas, 1.6 meter wave height. To the south of Clarendon, 0.9 of a meter wave height. South of Westmoreland, 0.8 of a meter wave height. North of Hanover, 0.9 of a meter wave height. North of St. Anne, 1 meter wave height. North of Portland, 1.2 meter wave height. And that's because of the easterly winds that are expected tomorrow. We clearly see the bright green colors, 15 knots right here to the south of St. Thomas, up to 19 knots right here to the south of St. Elizabeth, 16 knots to the north of Trelawney, to the north of Portland, 13 knots. And we can also see that the air is going to be piling up once again across sections of some central and western parishes. Wherever we have the least amount of winds, as represented by the blues, that's where the low level to mid level clouds will pile up. And then we have that, cumulonimbus cloud cover, that daytime heating, rainfall for sure. And the upper level wind shear, doesn't seem like we're going to be having much strong of an upper level wind shear. So these clouds could spread out in every direction if we actually get the upper level, activity in the upper levels of the atmosphere with those cumulonimbus clouds. Very interesting day tomorrow. Definitely going to be in for some amount of rainfall. Whatever comes off of the sea from the east, you're going to be in for some amount of rainfall across St. Thomas and Portland. And these rainfall forecast maps confirm that. Look at this. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? A rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland tomorrow morning. And even as we head throughout the morning, look at this. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time. We're still seeing that rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland. Even although the Euro is trying to incorporate some of that rainfall across some central and western parishes, the GFS making more sense, still showing that the brunt of the rainfall should be across sections of Portland, St. Thomas, maybe even spilling into sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, maybe even sections of St. Catherine, maybe even as far from there across central and western Jamaica, like what the Euro is showing. A very interesting day is in store for us tomorrow in terms of rainfall for sure. And it's definitely believable because look at the dry air map. To the east of us, we see a bit of moisture and we see some blues. And regarding the Saharan dust forecast for July 16, we're in the clear, so the air might not be that dry. It could definitely be moist. So even although the tropical wave is right here to the east of the Dominican Republic, maybe we could be in for some of the moisture tomorrow pushing through. We'll see exactly what unfolds. The rainfall forecast maps are definitely showing something over here for us. Then by afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time, are showing the usual rainfall for central to western parishes. So northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, section of southwestern St. Anne getting in on that afternoon rainfall for sure. And we see the Euro still showing some rainfall out east, the GFS not so much at that time. Either way, we're in for some rainfall tomorrow. Both the Euro and the GFS rainfall totals, accumulated precipitation rainfall totals, are showing that it's going to be raining the most across the far eastern end and the far western end. When you see the yellows, we see up into the gold and the oranges. So we're going to be getting in on that rainfall in the morning for eastern Jamaica, up to 0.29 of an inch of rainfall being shown on the Euro, 0.24 of an inch of rainfall being shown on the GFS. Could be more than that, could be less than that. The GFS in the western end showing up to 0.41 of an inch of rainfall. The Euro in the western end showing up to 0.25 of an inch. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of July. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 50 millimeters of rainfall for July. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall for the month of July. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more if you'd like to see what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of July or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. That's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as well as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we still see a lot of moisture by 12Z on Thursday, that's 7 a.m. across the northern Gulf. Could be associated with what's formulating regarding what the hurricane center has highlighted. Could that be Dexter trying to take shape? We'll see. But if we don't see anything else trying to organize, we're going to be focusing most of our attention on Jamaica. So by 7 a.m. on Thursday, we don't really see much of anything at that time on the Euro. Then by Thursday afternoon, we actually see some rainfall across the eastern to the central and western ends. Interesting. Do we have the consensus on the GFS? Thursday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the eastern end. Thursday afternoon, look at that. Rainfall across the eastern, central, and western parishes. Interesting. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning, not really showing much of anything on the Euro. Friday afternoon, not really showing much of anything on the Euro at all. Friday looks dry. Let us see what the GFS shows for Friday morning. Maybe some rainfall out in the eastern end of the island. Friday afternoon, not really showing much of anything. Let us see what Saturday morning shows. Saturday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the far eastern end. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Let us see what the GFS shows. Saturday morning, eastern parishes, just like what the Euro was showing. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across mainly central and western parishes. That's what Sunday morning shows. On Sunday morning, not really showing much. Maybe some isolated showers to the east of us, to the north of us. Sunday afternoon, look at that. Interesting. Rainfall across the eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. We even see some yellows into the reds in there across the central to the western end. Let us see if the GFS shows the same thing for Sunday. Sunday morning, maybe some rainfall across the northeastern end. Sunday afternoon, interesting. Rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. It's starting to get a bit wetter the more we continue over the next 7 days. So it was Thursday with the eastern, central, western parishes. Rainfall. Now it looks like what, Sunday. Very interesting Sunday coming. If it actually, maintains this forecast, because sometimes these forecasts can definitely change. But it looks like a very festive Thursday. Sunday is coming. Sunday, July 20. We'll see. We even see a yellow in there. Represents maybe up to 6 inches of rainfall if that's possible. Let us see what Monday morning shows. Let's get into the Euro first. Monday morning on the Euro. Maybe some isolated showers across the northeastern end. Monday afternoon. Not really showing much. Maybe some isolated showers across the northern and western end. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. Just like what the U.S. National Hurricane Center would do. Maybe some isolated showers out east, and I like the moisture that I'm seeing across northeastern South America into the Windward Islands. I don't know what usually is over there. Might push out to the west into us. We'll see. Let us see what the GFS shows. Monday morning, not really much of anything. Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, northern, and western parishes. And just like the Euro, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Tuesday, July 22. Maybe some isolated showers across the far northern end of the island. We also see that rainfall across the eastern Caribbean. Very interesting that it's starting to moisten up the more we continue throughout the middle to latter part of July. Well, it's about time. We'll take it for sure. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS, They are both still adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should still be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks, across northern South America into portion of Central America. That's where we're getting up to 2, maybe all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall that could trigger some amount of isolated flash flooding. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that. Even portion of Trinidad and Tobago shaded in that. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, at least up to 1 inch of rainfall, like the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles into the Lesser Antilles. That's the rainfall that those areas should be receiving over the next 7 days. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, we're starting to see an increase in the amount of rainfall that's expected for the far eastern end of the island. Even although the GFS is a bit more robust with the rainfall across western Jamaica, the yellows into the oranges, up to 78 millimeters of rainfall at that out west. The GFS not so much with those rainfall totals out west, but definitely up to 47 millimeters of rainfall in the east. GFS maybe even more or well, definitely more than 47 millimeters, because we're seeing getting up into the slight oranges for the east. So one thing is for sure, the rainfall is starting to be on the increase, finally getting over a stuck pattern. The pattern is stuck, but it looks like I believe the tropical waves might be coming with a bit more moisture, and we'll take it, because boy, the heat, the dryness. Did you guys see the video that I posted today on our other social media platform, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? I posted a video from Midday News on TVJ, and they were talking about a crazy hydrological drought that's affecting portions of St. Anne. Hydrological drought basically affects, the rivers and the water in our pipes. So it's not necessarily a crazy drought that would mean, a lot of hillsides are burning down or whatever the case may be. It's just really, hydrological in a sense. So less water in pipes and so on, and people having to pay for water. So if you haven't seen that, check it out, because boy, it's crazy. But it's nice to know that rain is coming tomorrow, and rain is coming more so within the next 7 days, and we're grateful for that. Alright, so before we look at the rest of the Caribbean, let us see the live camera over there in Negril. How cool Palm, is it raining as yet? Doesn't seem like it, but it's showing the right time, 7:22 p.m. as you can see here. Getting a bit windy. Not really sure if it's raining as yet. Could be raining. Alright, I think I just saw lightning. I think I just saw some lightning over there. It could be raining, but can hardly make it out. Alright. Alright, so let us see what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean. We can clearly see some moisture pushing through the Windward Islands, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Barbados got on there for a share earlier today. We can see the usual thunderstorm activity across section of Cuba, and the system crossing over northern Florida as we speak. That could emerge into the northern Gulf and develop. We'll see. Either way, in terms of the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, let's head over there near Puerto Rico to see what's happening now. We do see some increase in moisture. We see the light to moderate rainfall in the greens here and there, some hit or miss rainfall. Definitely what we like to see. We like to see the moisture pushing through. Definitely take this every day over than nothing at all. We see some rainfall across Puerto Rico as well. And if we load these images from earlier today, as you can see here, it was definitely an on and off thing all day today, and I'm sure they're grateful for that. Even the Barbados radar confirmed rainfall today. We see that rainfall pushing through from east-west into portions of, hold on, it's a bit too zoomed out. Right there, that's the sweet spot. Okay, there we go. You can see that rainfall pushing through into Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, the Grenadines, St. Vincent. We see that rainfall pushing towards Tobago as well. And if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall across western Florida, section of Cuba. We also see that rainfall that we just saw across the eastern Caribbean. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should be across northern South America. We're talking about Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, sections of Costa Rica, Panama, sections of Nicaragua, the Yucatan Peninsula, Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica. We see some rainfall in store for the Eastern Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, section of the Leeward Islands, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago getting on some of that. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.